Dad, why did you buy this? Hey there, everybody. What would you consider to be a good car? Most people would say things like reliable and long-lasting, but if you're my dad, you have a very foggy idea of what a good car would be. But back last year, my dad got the first car in a while that would be considered a decent car by the general populace, and because it's Father's Day, that's what we're talking about in this video. So this whole thing happened back last year around the time I made a whole video about his dodgy cars when my dad accepted that he would need to get rid of his prized Ford Freestyle. Back last May, he realized that his Freestyle was so rusted out that it could eventually become a safety hazard. Which isn't good. So after realizing this, he began a car search for the ages, and these ages were the dark ages because his search wasn't going very well for about the first month of it happening. Now my dad doesn't really buy cars new, and honestly I can't blame him because not only are new cars too expensive, but they also have too many features and are entirely too complicated for my oblivious self to understand. I wonder what this button does. So his car search was purely on the used market, and because of that, the quality of the cars within his original price range made our old rusty Freestyle look like car show material. The rust really brings out the bird poop on the hood. These cars were a new kind of bad, and I'm talking about cars with major mechanical issues. Why does it not move? Cars with unknown issues that could pose a large problem later. And cars with more rust than the city of Cleveland. Now what exactly do you mean by I found it at the bottom of Lake Huron? My dad's search for a car under $8,000 makes my search for a girlfriend look easy. My dad went to Detroit, up north, to the west. He was even considering going to Virginia to look at a car, but he couldn't find anything. And I went with him on a few of these trips to go look at a car, and honestly, as a driver who just got his permit at the time, I was getting very worried at the fact that these cars were even possibilities. Because while I'm fine with driving a not very good car, I feel like there's a line I really don't want to cross. Man, it feels so weird driving a car where the gas pedal doesn't fall off every 10 miles. Now if I were in his shoes, personally I would have just given up and bought a snowmobile instead, but my dad had a different idea in store, and that idea was simply to raise his budget for a car. Which I mean is definitely effective because it's amazing how much nicer the cars on the market are when you raise your price range by $5,000. You're telling me this car has only hit 2 deer and not 6? I mean, with that kind of money, could you have bought 2 snowmobiles and a boat and ensured constant summer and winter fun? Yeah. Oh, sorry. But I guess a car is more important, so it makes sense why he didn't go with that. Anyway, after a few weeks of more car searching, he finally found a car. And that car was a 2012 Ford Expedition, and honestly, having driven it for a year, I really liked the car. But for the first few months we had it, there were a few kinks that really needed to be worked out. One of these kinks was that randomly the air conditioner would just stop working, which normally wasn't really a problem, but one time it did it on a highway coming home from Chicago. And considering it was sunny and about 80 degrees, the only real option was turning our car into a wind tunnel, which wasn't exactly ideal. Another one of these problems was that there was a noise somewhere in the car that was driving my dad absolutely insane for the first 5 months he had the car because nothing he did fixed it. Now eventually he did end up fixing it, but that 5 months was sort of tense and quite annoying. The noise. After the speedometer went out though on that one Chicago trip, there really hasn't been a problem with the car since, which is good. Anyway, that's how my dad finally got a nice car. Having driven the car frequently, I really enjoy it, but now I also really don't think I want to drive anything that's not a truck, which may eventually be a problem. I think I'll pass. Anyway, thanks for watching.